Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. In this video, we're talking about training knives. Now this video is particularly important because there's a significant uptick in knife attacks, particularly in Europe. As always, pay attention and good luck. So what we have here are the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, if you're interested in researching any of these knives further, I did put links in the description down below. So let's start with the least expensive option and work our way up. First, we have the Sharpie pen. Yes, believe it or not, people use this for knife defense and knife fighting practice. What they advocate is to simply put on a t-shirt that you don't care that gets marked up, and you can go at it with your training partner with this magic marker. This is absurd, and anybody who espouses that you should use this as a training tool doesn't have the slightest clue about knife fighting and knife defense. I know I'm a little bit harsh here in this video, but I have to be because we're talking about life and death. We're talking about a very deadly business, and people who advocate choosing this very cheap, ridiculous option have no business in the self-defense industry. So we are not ever going to use a Sharpie magic marker to try to replicate a knife and do knife defense drills or knife fighting drills. So this is out of the question. Next, we have the flexible training knife. Now, this is sold on the internet. I'm actually surprised. This thing has been around for decades. I have it in my training studio just as an example of what not to use for knife defense and knife fighting. It's a very cheap tool. It's about 13 bucks. And the problem with this is that the actual blade wiggles, and that's not good at all for target acquisition or for any type of accuracy in terms of cutting. It doesn't allow you to chalk the edge to indicate contact points or cut groupings at all. It's a terrible alternative. I would highly recommend that you avoid using this training knife for both knife fighting and knife defense purposes. Next, we have the Boker training knife. Now, this is designed after the popular Applegate and Fairbairn training knife. It's something that we have used for many, many years. It's a great training knife for both knife defense and knife fighting. And the great thing about this is that you can chalk the edges. So when you make contact with your training partner, you could see where the target acquisition occurred, and you could see the different types of grouping. So this is a great knife. It can be used in the hammer or in the ice pick. It's a real stout blade. Now, if you're using this for knife fighting, you better be certain that this is the style and type of knife that you're using, a fixed blade. So if you're using a tactical folder for knife fighting purposes, you should really use something that's akin to what you're carrying on your person. I'll be talking about that in a minute or two. So this is, again, the Boker training knife. It sells in a pack of 2 for approximately $28, and it can be used for knife defense and knife fighting. Good training knife. Next, we have aluminum training blades. Now, these are very realistic, and they should only be used by experienced practitioners. They don't have an edge or a point, and they really don't hold any chalk, so you're not going to be able to really see where the target acquisition occurred. But in terms of realism, these are great. These are custom made by a knife maker here in Maryland. I don't think he's in business any longer, but he did a great job in making these for us. Now, when using these types of blades, it's really important that you must wear some form of eye protection, because it just takes one mishap and you get that in the eye and you could actually lose it. So always wear eye protection whenever you do knife defense or knife fighting training. Now, these knives can be pricey and hard to find, so you're going to have your work cut out for you when trying to find these types of training knives. Next, we have tactical fighting drones. They range in price anywhere from $30 to $300. It really all depends on the brand that you pick. This happens to be a Kershaw Emerson tactical training folder. You'll notice that there are 4 holes running vertically down the blade. This is a safety precaution that helps prevent you from actually trying to put an edge on the blade, because if you do, it's going to compromise the structural integrity of this and the blade's going to fall apart. So good for them. It's a good way to prevent this from being abused. Now, this particular knife I'm not fond of. Frankly, it's not big enough and the blade's not long enough. So this is something that I would definitely pass on, but I wanted to show you that there are tactical fighting drones out there. In contemporary fighting arts, we've taken our knife fighting to a higher level of realism. We've taken an actual Crawford Casper fighting knife and we've had it professionally milled down and filed down so it's safe. Then what we did is we put an adhesive, it's a felt adhesive, over the edge. So now you can chalk it up. So when you make contact with the opponent's target, you could see where the acquisition occurred. And you could also see the different types of cut groupings that occurred. Now this has got a heavy blade to it. So when you get whacked on the wrist or the elbow, you're going to feel it. So what we did is we actually created a wrist cuff that snaps on. So when the opponent makes contact with your wrist, because this is one of the primary targets in knife fighting is to cut the wrists. And so you're not going to feel a tremendous amount of pain from the impact. Also, it will register the different cut marks as well. So we use the wrist cuff along with the fighting drone. Now listen, do not go on your own and try to file it down or mill it down. You're going to get injured. This is something that we have professionally done, and we only have it done for our most advanced students. This is not something we let beginners use in the system. So again, it's something that requires quite a bit of skill and professional work on the blade before you can actually use it for knife fighting or knife defense purposes. Now, for those of you who have watched my Warblade video, you've seen this actual drone in action with one of my students. It truly is a fantastic training tool. So there you have it. These are the training knives that I advocate for knife fighting and knife defense. The only caveat is you do not make your own tactical fighting drone. You need to go out and purchase one that's professionally made. I'll have links in the description down below. Once again, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. We want to make this channel grow. We'll see you at the next video.